Very good afternoon to all present in this session. To begin with, actually, this morning we had an opportunity to visit one of the Kota village called Kollimalai. So we just happened to meet one of the elderly Kota man. And to begin with the conversation, I started in talking to him in Baraga. So Badaga, as I told you, like Badaga is being used as a lingua franca by all the 6 plus 1 7 tribes in Nilgiris. So that gentleman was talking to me in Badaga. Then later, a Tamil speaker, Dr. Arulmozhi, was with me. So immediately switched on to Tamil to talk with Dr. Arulmozhi. Then later, when I asked him about regarding the tomorrow's field visit, and we need to meet one of, the headman of that particular community. So he said, like, wait, let me check. And he calls on the phone, and he was talking to him in their own language, Kota. So in matter of 5 minutes, so he was able to converse in Tamil, Badaga, as well as Kota, which is their native language. So that generation people, which means all of them 100%, they are trilingual. And of course, this present generation, as we all know that they are bilingual, which is Tamil, which is the dominating language of this Nilgiri, Tamil Nadu, and their own languages. So moving on to this, actually, my idea here is to just take you a virtual tour. What's going to happen tomorrow? So before that, I just wanted to give a general idea about what the whole Nilgiri is consists of, the kind of community, the kind of language, culture, traditional, etc. So in this case, what happens is that here, as Nilgiri Hills is concerned, we have 6 tribes, namely Kota, Toda, Irula, Kurumba, Pania, and Katunayakas. And even though Badaga is not belonging to the scheduled tribe as record as of now, of course, it is another indigenous community in this Nilgiris. So in the present study, we are confining to the languages of Blue Mountains, the Nilgiris, which is part of Western Ghats, with special reference to Kota language. The hilly plateau of the southern of India is called the Nilgiris or the Nilgiri Hills. The Nilgiri district of Tamil Nadu state includes the plateau, the jungle-clad slopes of uplands, and some adjoining lowlands tracts. The Nilgiri Hill is homeland for 6 particularly vulnerable tribal groups, namely Badaga, Irula, Kota, Toda, Kurba, and Katunayakas. Members of these communities have their indigenous, religious, cultural, and ethno-medicinal practices. So if you look into the culture as a whole or as a language part, each and every community are different and very unique in their own way. Even though all these languages belong to what you call Dravidian, Southern Dravidian, but still there are a lot of what you call question marks. Like if we take, for instance, according to the linguists, most of this language, they have a color or the similarities of old Canaries. But still, if you look at Toda, for instance, Todas, to say how are you in their language, they say Udilsha. Udilsha, I don't know how to get close to the Dravidian. In what way it is close to the Dravidian? So the lot of questions comes that when you look into the Toda language, especially to say bye bye, they say Peace Wishkin. Peace Wishkin, it sounds Greek and Latin to us, but still their origin is, if you ask me, origin is still a mystery. People say that they have come from Sumeria or from so many uh, records. I mean, people claim that. But but in all ways and means, they are totally unique. Likewise, the other tribal languages. The population is the total population of the scheduled tribes in Tamil Nadu is 6.51 lakhs, according to 2001 census. There are 36 scheduled tribes, among which Toda, Kota, Kurumba, Irla, Paniya, Kattanaika are in the Nilgiri district. Irulas and Kurumbas are spread in Tamil Nadu, the Nilgiris in Coimbatore district, as well as in Kerala and Karnataka. Starting from 91 census of India, only mother tongues with population of 10,000 are considered. Toda, for example, is not reported as an independent language in 2011 census. Badaga, Kuruma are clubbed under the broad language name Kannada as variant, even though the population is more than 10,000. Paniya is grouped under Malayalam, whereas Irla or Irla Mori, the language of Irla, Kota are grouped under Tamil, even though it is proved to be independent languages according to B.H. Krishnamurti 2003. Census of India, the Language Atlas of India 2011, Office of the Registrar Central and Census Commissioner. See, if we look into these kind of population in India, there is still a mystery. The population is declining rather than increasing. Especially now, as of now, Todas are critically endangered. And of course, Kota to some extent, they are bit more in number in population. And the reason why this Toda population is declining, people are not able to get a proper reason out of it. But still, there is a record in the OT government hospital saying that there were cases of disease, venereal disease, during one particular period where many Toda men have died. So the reason people say for this is that Todas are the one who are practicing polyandry in those days. So talking about the polyandry, if you ask or if you talk to these present Toda people about polyandry, what is polyandry? I mean, did you guys practice polyandry? None of the present generation agrees to that. They think that that is something bad about that. But when I was doing my field work for my PhD research during the year 1992, so I happened to meet a very elderly Toda. He was around 82 years old at that time. So when I asked them, just to clarify, like talking about, but they have a very strong, the anthropologists have a very strong evidence about their practicing of polyandry. So when I asked that old man, so he said, I asked that, like, do you have this, the Toda has this practice? So that gentleman with a big laugh, he told me that, Ramesh, you know something? Yes, tell me. I was born for 4 fathers, and he was so happy and he was so privileged to tell that he was born for 4 fathers. So which means that, so that kind of, I mean, accepting the cultural practices was there only among the elderly people or the last generations, whereas this current generation do not agree to any of this kind. So I've just given a statistics about the number of settlements, population, households, habitants, Badaga, Irla, Kota, Toda, Kurumba, Katunaikan, and Paniyas. But if you look into this, Todas are the lesser in number. The Kota is one of the 6 PVGTs residing in the Nilgiris of Tamil Nadu in southern India. The Kotas are considered to be the most ancient inhabitants of Nilgiri district. They belong to Indo-Dravidian Negroid racial group. Kotas were mainly blacksmiths, making an array of implements, including big cooking vessels. They are also experts in leather works. So there is something interesting in this. When you're talking about this, of all the 7 tribes in here, Kotas, Todas, Kurumbas, and Badagas, they are all knitted. So whenever any occasion or a ritual, maybe a death or a marriage ceremony happens, so all this, they will have a representation from each community. Especially talking about Kotas, Kotas are musicians basically, and they are blacksmiths, and they are also they are into pottery making. And whereas Todas are purely, they are buffalo herders, and Badagas being agriculturists, and Kurumbas, they dwell in the forest. They live on, taking honey from forest and doing agricultural farm work in Badaga farms. So what happens is that these 4 tribes, especially these Kota people, they go to Toda ceremony. When a Toda dies, they have a practice of sacrificing buffaloes. So those days, Todas used to have hundreds of buffaloes in each family. So a male person dies in a Toda family, they are supposed to sacrifice or butcher 4 to 5 buffaloes for that gentleman, for the deceased person. So their basic belief is that those souls of that, the buffaloes will accompany this deceased soul to the heaven. There's another interesting fact in this about Toda's belief is that in their Toda language, they do not have a word for hell. They have only heaven. They have belief in only that. Everyone, the next, they called as Omnad. Omnad means the next world, that is heaven. So they believe that the souls of this buffalo would travel with them so that they can milk these buffaloes in the heaven. And once these buffaloes are killed, the Kota men, after the rituals, they take the buffaloes and they consume it. So basically, Kota are pure non-vegetarian, whereas Todas are vegetarians. But there is a record saying that even Todas were also hunters in one particular period. But later, even now, their belief, if you ask them, like, they know we are vegetarians. So Kotas were mainly blacksmiths. So they do this for Badagas as well as for Todas. And of course, Kurumba is also invited for the, the temple rituals. So Kurumba has a part to play in temple rituals in Badagas as well as in Toda community. They collect the hides, cure them, and make a number of goods, including parts of musical instruments. Kotas are also experts in carpentry and basket making. These villages are all called as Kukal in their dialect, and outside call them as Kotagiri, meaning Kota. Kotagiri is Kota, men, Giri is hills. So basically, their settlements are called Tirchigiri, Sholur, Kullimalai, Kunda Kotagiri, Aggal Kotagiri, Kil Kotagiri, Gudaluru, etc. So among the 6 tribes, Badagas occupies the highest position due to their economic forward and agricultural advancement. Many place names in the Nilgiri districts are in fact derived from Badaga. Even basically the Uti, which used to be Wattagai, Wattakal Mand, Wattakal, Watta is single, Kal is stone, Mand is Toda village. So that became Wattagai, and then Uttagai, then Watkaman by Britishers, later changed as Uti. So if you look at the hierarchy among the tribes, Badaga people distinguish their living place into four categories, namely Parangad Sime, Todanad Sime, Meknad Sime, and Kunda Sime. According to Raichur, Badagas are the aboriginal tribes of the Nilgiri Hills. And Irlas and Kurbas are allotted house, whereas quotas are given employment by government. So most of the quota men, they have a central government job, whether either in railways, postal department, or as teachers, or and in some schools. And Paniyas are treated as least in the region of all these tribes. So this is a table I've given traditional occupation of the communities. Let's move on. Yeah, basically, this is a Toda temple where every mand or every village will have. You can see that this carving of the buffalo. So you cannot imagine a Toda community or a Toda without buffalo. They pray buffalo. They all, I mean, the milk of the buffalo is used to only for, I mean, they have two types of buffaloes, which one is domestic, another one is temple buffaloes. So each and every buffalo will have names. Buffalo, they give names to the buffalo only after they give birth to a calf. Male buffaloes do not have any names. Only female buffaloes have names. So this is another type of temple by Todas. This is cone. One is Po, they called, another is called T. Now we could see the full picture of the cone temple. So these are the places tomorrow we will be visiting, and most probably we will be getting a lot of interesting things where we can connect to our cognitive stuff. So this is a stone which every temple has got. It's to show their masculinity, like how strong the men are. So during festival time, they used to carry the stone to their shoulders and drop it down. So this is a sacred stone, and of course tomorrow we'll be visiting this also. It's in one. This is only in one of the months it is available. So actually, this stone was donated by a Badaga man as an offering, where he did not have child for a long time. He prayed Toda, Turkish, the god name, the name of the Toda goddess, Turkish. So he prayed for, and finally when he got a child, so this was his offering to this Toda temple. This is another important thing, what you see here. This is a buffalo pen. So this is also equally treated as a temple. So wherever there is a temple, there will be a small boundary stone close to 50 to 60 meters apart from away from the temple, where women are not supposed to cross that stone. So every woman, once they enter into their village, they are not supposed to wear their slippers. They remove the slippers, carry in their hand, they go home. And they are not supposed to consume any of the temple buffaloes milk or milk product of the Toda temple buffaloes. So what you see here is embroidery of Toda shawl. So this is one of the profession for the women community in the village. Even now they have got a cooperative stores that is being sold, and even in the months when we visit, we'll be seeing this also tomorrow, and we can buy. Coming down to this Kota again, this is the Kota temple. So talking about the temples, either Kota, Badaga, or Toda, these communities do not have any what you call ideal worship. It's all ancestors things that they'll have a stick, a bamboo cane stick inside this, and there you cannot find any structure or a statue or an idol. So, so this happens once in a year, the temple, the festivals. Other time, people are not allowed to go inside these temples. And every Kota village will have this one particular type of tree. So this is a sacred tree which they consider, and their main worship is fire. So during Shivaratri, so the whole night they will make a huge bonfire, and they celebrate by dancing and singing around the fire. You could see a Kota woman. This is one of the most important rituals of Kotas, where a girl before entering, coming to a puberty stage, it's around maybe around 10 to 12, 8 to 10 years. Within 8 to 10 years, they go for this kind of ceremony. This ceremony does not take place in their homes. They have a common place where this ceremony takes place, and that particular place is used for also for the woman to come and give birth to a child. So, which means that they consider that that is a not, spiritually that is not considered as this thing, auspicious or cleanliness. So they have a separate place for these kind of things. And you can see the doing that ceremonial this thing during that pre-puberty stage. And this during a field work in one of the Kota villages is called Kunda Kotagiri. Actually, it's a tattoo they try to show us, and it's not quite visible in here. So tattoo culture is there even in Badagas, Chodas, as well as in Kotas. But the figure is something different. It's not the same for one community. They have a different kind of structures. This is another Kota temple. So this is the place we are going to visit tomorrow, and we'll be having a lot of deliberations, and we'll be have interaction with these people, and other things will take place there. Due to the contact with various other linguistic groups in the region, though they belong to the same language family, they develop bilingualism among themselves. The same bilingualism has paved the way for developing more cognitive capacity in thinking and perceiving the world around them. This can be observed in having different names for a single entity like temple, buffalo, and the hill. If you take, for instance, the Todas have close to 100 names within this small vicinity in Nilgiris. Each and every mountain has got a different names, just like in Iceland, where we have a lot of names for the ice. So because their connection with the nature is so close, and they've got a very rich this thing, what do you call medicinal plants. So once we had been to one of the Kota villages, just by sitting in close in one place, they got us some 10 herbs which are used for different diseases. Even right from pregnancy to the headache or stomachache, everything they have very rich this thing of medicinal plants. So in future, we would like to go in further for this medicinal plants and connect with linguistic aspects. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for a very interesting talk. We are truly looking forward to meeting them tomorrow. If there are any questions from the audience, you can ask them now.
Okay,
sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
The younger generation that has started now, are they still following all these rituals? Do they still follow all these rituals? And how open is the community for both the genders to come out and move to the city, learn, get education? Like, is there any gender difference that is innately present in the
Yes,
community?
definitely there is a big change on the present generation and the previous generation. Especially if you take Todas, for instance, they don't want to move away from this place. Even though they get a job outside the plains, they don't want to go in there. They want it always to be within their community. Whereas if you take Kotas, for example, Kotas are mostly, I mean, employed. As I told you, they are employed in railways, I mean, postal departments, and other central government agent, there's jobs. But whereas Todas, they don't want to move from one place. That is one thing they are lacking, because even though they have lot of opportunities outside, they don't want it to move out. But due to the what you call this forest rules and regulations, so these days they do not have a grazing place for their buffaloes. That's one big thing they have lacking now. They're not able to do their traditional buffalo herding. And there is also some kind of Christian conversion here and there now. People think that it's a kind of a fashion or a kind of a passion for them to carry a Bible on Sundays, and they can go to church, because the women community in Toda thinks that they are not being allowed, or not they are not being allowed to take part in any of the temple rituals. So they are always away from temple rituals. So they once when I ask them, they say that so we can walk into church and we can sit in front of the church and see the God. Whereas in our community, they are not allowing to do this thing. So small little this thing is that. But of course, this generation, as bilingualism is there, apart from the language switching language, there are, I mean, a lot of other words, what you call, they this present generation, they are not able to speak, because their language outside outside the world, they don't want to show them as they belong to this particular community. They feel inferior.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think we can take one more question. If there are no questions, we'll move to the next speaker.